What is up, guys? It is Zach and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Mario Party Superstars some more, of course. What else am I going to talk about on this channel at this point? So today we're going to be going into mini-games. Now obviously mini-games are kind of a hot topic with Mario Party Superstars because it's almost like a redone top 100 with actual boards, and I'm so excited. But the big point is, what mini-games are going to be added? Well, I'm not going to predict that, because I think it's a little too hard to exactly just predict it, because as we saw with Top 100, Nintendo picked some unconventional choices, and they weren't even with the distribution of the mini-games. So today, I'm going to be personally saying what mini-games I would like to see come to Mario Party Superstars. Keep in mind, the number won't exactly add up to 100. This isn't me trying to fill in the rest of the spots to get to 100. This is me just saying the mini-games from each Mario Party game I would like to see come in. And also keep in mind, I'm going to be not including Mario Parties 1, 2, and 3, since they already have enough representation. So, without any further ado, let's get into the video. First up is Dungeon Duos, a very iconic 2v2 minigame. Not including this minigame in Mario Party Superstars would be an absolute crime. Do it. Next up is Paths of Peril. I think this one it's not confirmed, but it's highly speculated to be in there, given a screenshot that is seen in the trailer where you can kind of make out that it's probably Paths of Peril, but either way, this is a very fun minigame, and I hope it makes it in. Hide and Go Boom. Okay, I freaking love this one. This one's like a very big mind game on, trying to fool the one person. It's a great 1v3 minigame, and I really hope it makes it in. Next up, Fruits of Doom. This is my Bowser pick from this game, and I freaking love Fruits of Doom. It's probably one of my favorite Bowser minigames from the GameCube. I don't even know why. It's just a fun one that you really have to try to pay attention to the words as Bowser's saying them, and yeah, Fruits of Doom. Paratrooper Plunge, you always need the money minigames where you get as much money as you can. You kind of need those ones, and I think this one is a really good one to have here. Cliffhangers is a really good 2v2 minigame. I'm usually not one for 2v2 minigames, but this is one that I actually kind of like quite a bit, so I really hope they include Cliffhangers. Nightlight Fright's a really fun game of chicken. Who can let the Chain Chomp get closest to them? And I really like this minigame, and I would love to see it come back. I am pretty dang certain it was in Top 100, so I would be surprised if they didn't bring it back here. Next up is Hotel Goomba, another one that I'm pretty certain was in the Top 100, and I would love to see this one come back. It's a pretty fun free-for-all minigame. Cajun Cookin' is next, and I'm also pretty sure this was in Mario Party the Top 100, and I would love to see this one come back because it's a pretty cool Bowser minigame. It's probably my favorite from Mario Party 5. Next up is Ground Pound Down. This one's a pretty cool one. I think it's just a matter of who can tap A the fastest, but I think this one should make it in. Next up is Popstar Piranha. It's a really good try to fake it out minigame, try to figure out which piranha plant's doing the wrong movement, and I actually really like this minigame. I really hope it makes it in. Heatstroke, I'm pretty certain was in Mario Party Top 100, but I think it's a really cool 1v3 minigame of trying to trick out the other 3 players. Though I do think there should be a little more balancing for the 3, just to give them a little more of a shot, but either way, Heatstroke is a pretty fun one. Next up is Shock Absorbers, and this one's the Mario Party 5 Shock Absorbers, because there's a Mario Party 7 minigame called Shock Absorbers as well. But this is a really cool dual minigame. Yeah, I don't know what else to say besides it's a really cool dual minigame, and obviously they need more dual minigames, so this is one I would like to see them add. Oh, my favorite Mario Party. Of course, I gotta start off with Snow World. This one was in Mario Party the Top 100, and I would love to see them bring this one back. Granite Getaway is a cool Indiana Jones themed free-for-all minigame where you're running away from the boulder, and I really like it. I really hope that what they do, though, is make a tier system of who gets to the front first. Maybe almost making it like a battle minigame, because it's very easy for everyone to win this one, so maybe having it be more like a race. I don't know. I would like to see them bring this one back anyways. What's a Mario Party game without the platformer minigame of the game? And I think Daft Rafts would be a really cool one to see return. I quite liked that version of the platform minigames that Mario Party usually offers. Blooper Scooper is a frantic mess of trying to swim away from a giant blooper, and honestly, I really would like to see this minigame return. I know this one's not super popular, but it's actually one of my favorites from Mario Party 6, just because there's a little bit of strategy, trying to swim away, making sure you don't hit the boxes, trying to get other people to hit the boxes. It's a pretty fun one. I would love to see it return. Booed Off the Stage is another dual minigame that I like quite a bit. Basically, you gotta avoid these boos that are flying at you, and I think it's a pretty fun time. I would love to see them bring this one back. Dizzy Rotisserie was also in Mario Party the top 100, and it's probably the Bowser minigame I'd like to see most come from Mario Party 6. But I do think they should do something different with this one. So if you played Mario Party 6 with Dizzy Rotisserie, you kind of know the general controls. Basically, you're going to win this game if you've played this game a bunch. What I think they should do is change the controls each time, because the whole point is that you're dizzy and the controls are changed and you have to get used to them. But if you've played Mario Party 6 a lot, you already kind of know what the controls are. So what I think they should do is randomize the controls each time and make it just a bit harder for people to win. Because obviously, you know, it's a pretty easy minigame to win once you kind of know what you're doing. So you should kind of spice it up for each time you play it. I know that was a big explanation on that one, but I do think they could tweak that minigame just a little bit. Strawberry Short Fuse. This is a cool battle minigame where you have to pay attention to where the cupcakes are and try not to get the bombs. It's a pretty cool one. I really hope they bring it back. It's a cool battle minigame, and yeah. Next up is Crate in Peril. I'm pretty certain they brought this one to top 100. I'm not quite sure. But it is a cool 1v3 minigame, though I would like to see it balanced a little bit more. Obviously, a lot of the 1v3 minigames in any Mario Party game aren't balanced, but I would like to see it made a little easier for the 3. But it's still a really cool one. I like the minigame, and I would like to see it return. Next up is Jump the Gun. This is a great 2v2 minigame that I'm actually pretty certain wasn't in the top 100, even though I'm pretty certain this is a really popular minigame. I think they should definitely bring this back as a 2v2. It's a lot of fun, and it requires a lot of communication and teamwork from each team, so I think it's a great one to bring back. Next up is Full Tilt. This duel minigame is a lot of fun, very, chaotic, and, requires a bit of platforming, and it's a lot of fun, and I think they should definitely bring it back. Next up is Track and Yield. This one obviously is a pretty obvious choice from Mario Party 7. This is a very popular minigame, probably the most popular minigame in Mario Party 7, so the fact that it isn't confirmed yet is quite surprising, but I would love to see this minigame return. Next up is Fun Run. I really like this minigame, and again, I don't think this one was in Mario Party Top 100, though I know it's a very popular minigame from Mario Party 7, so I would love to see them bring Fun Run back. Next up, Ghost in the Hall. I would like to see them bring this one back too. It's pretty much like a maze. You gotta find your way to the end of the maze, free-for-all minigame. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, I hope they bring it back. Next up is Trial and Error. This one's a pretty simple 2v2 where the two members of the team try to flip the other colors to make it their color. The one who has the most of their color on the board wins. It's a pretty simple and easy minigame. Nothing really much to say. Yeah. Next up is Battery Ram, another 2v2 minigame, where basically the two teammates have to work a really long ram through a maze, and it's actually a really cool one. It requires a lot of teamwork and communication, again, and I would love to see this one come back. It's a lot of fun. Next up is Mag Magical Journey, which is the Bowser game from Mario Party 7 that I am choosing for this list. This one is basically a platformer where Bowser and his Koopa kids, are probably going to be replaced by the Koopalings or Bowser Jr. or something, are shooting these fireballs at you. And it's kind of another platformer minigame, but a little bit different. Obviously, it's a Bowser one, so there's a lot more at stake here. And the objective is to just not fall off and complete the journey. And yeah, it's a pretty fun one. Give Me a Sign is a duel minigame where basically the Shy Guy, it's like Shy Guy Says, but there's a little more to it, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's a really cool duel minigame, and I really hope they bring it back for Mario Party Superstars. Next up is Water Ski Spree. This is a free-for-all minigame where the objective is to collect as many coins as you can. I actually think this would also be cool if it was transformed into a 2v2 minigame where one was driving the boat and one was skiing. I think that could be a cool way to transform this minigame, but if not, still a cool free-for-all minigame where you get treasure. So yeah, Water Ski Spree is a pretty good minigame. Mosh Pit Playroom. Everyone knows this one. It's basically an epilepsy of just colors of, going around the screen. It's a really chaotic minigame where you gotta collect all the balls in your color, and it's a pretty good one, and yeah, I would love to see them bring this minigame back. Flip the Chimp, obviously heavily relied on the motion controls, but we can make it work by using either button presses or a flick of the analog stick to flip the chimp. You can change up the controls, but it's a pretty cool free-for-all minigame. Yeah. King of the Thrill is probably one of the most popular 2v2 minigames from Mario Party 8, and I think it would be really cool to see it return. It's one of those fighting minigames, but it's a little bit different than the ones where you're just on a platform punching people off. It's a 2v2 style of that minigame, and I think they did it really well with this one, so hopefully they bring it back. Next up is Spectre Inspector. Now this one is a really honestly personal choice because I like Luigi's Mansion so much, but in this minigame you have to search around this creepy dark room for a bunch of Mario characters, and you can get scared by the Luigi's Mansion ghosts along the way if you choose the wrong objects to look at. It's a pretty cool either duel or free-for-all minigame. Actually, I think it's both, like a duel minigame and a free-for-all minigame, but either way, still a really fun one. I think they should use this as a duel minigame though, just because it's a little less chaotic with less people, but yeah. Next up is Power Trip. This is a really cool 1v3 that I actually think is pretty balanced. Basically, you have one player that's on the electrified hovercraft, and you have the other 3 people who are running away from them. And yeah, just a very fun minigame, and I think they should bring it back. Next up is Sick and Twisted, another platforming minigame. But this one's a little bit different than, Daft Draft from Mario Party 6. Basically, you're gonna have bullet bills coming at you, you got these rotating platforms. There's a little more to it than Daft Drafts, and I think it differentiates itself enough from it to be a really cool minigame to add here. Next up is Lava Lobbers. This one is a dual minigame that if you ever played, there's a Virtual Boy game that's kind of like this. I think it's like Mario's Clash or something, but basically, in this minigame, you're in a minecart and you're facing your opponent, and basically your objective is to hit your opponent 3 times to knock them off their rails, and it's a pretty cool little dual minigame that I think would be cool for them to bring back. Next up is Cardiators. This game is another dual minigame where basically there are cards laid out on the table, and each player takes turns picking up cards from this table. Each card has a number on it, which is basically the amount of health that'll be taken out from your opponent's health bar. Get your opponent's health bar down to 0 and you win. This is a really cool one, and I'd love to see them bring this minigame back. It's a little bit random, it's a little bit unpredictable, but that's the fun of Mario Party. Next up is Saucer Swarm. Basically, this free-for-all minigame, which also actually in Mario Party 8 is a dual minigame as well, you can basically shoot flying saucers that are coming towards you. The person who shoots the most flying saucers wins. Pretty simple premise, and it's a pretty fun minigame as well, so I would love to see them add it. Next up is Peak Precision. This minigame is a pretty fun reflex minigame. How fast you can hit the button, to go up the mountain, and it's a pretty fun one. Free-for-all minigame, pretty standard, but pretty fun. Next up is Peer Pressure. This one's pretty fun. Basically, it's very random. You don't know what fish you're gonna pull. Don't know what else to say besides it's a random minigame, and like I said earlier, all Mario Party games need a bit of a random minigame thrown in there. Next up is Loggerheads, another reflex minigame where basically you gotta wait for the little wood guy to put up a piece of wood, and you gotta hit it, it's pretty standard stuff. Next up is Goomba Bowling. Basically, the main objective here is to hit as many Goombas as you can. Pretty self-explanatory, not much to say with this minigame, but it's a pretty fun one if you can time it right. Speeding Bullets is a pretty cool racing minigame that obviously relied heavily on the motion controls, but you can relegate that to stick controls, and you can probably also make it work with gyro controls if you wanted to, use that. You can probably have a setting where you can turn gyro controls on or off, and that'll probably help you. And it's a really cool little racing minigame. Don't know what else to say. It's pretty fun. Next up, Ballistics. This one's basically one of those ones where you have to avoid all the bullet bills flying at you. I always love these kinds of minigames. It's just a matter of who's the best at avoiding all the objects coming at you, and I think it's a really fun one, and I would love to see them add it. Next up is Block and Roll. This is a pretty clever one where the 3 people at the top drop a boulder to try to hit the first player who's trying to bring over 3 crates to the other side. It's a really good one for communication with the 3 players up top trying to time their rolls so that they can either block the person down there from going forward or whatever. It's a really cool minigame. I like it, and I would love to see it come back. Next up is Soar to Score. Now this one's a pretty fun one where you have to time your press to be launched off a little thing to try to get the highest point. I can't explain this game. It's hard. I don't know how it's hard to explain. It's such a simple concept. So basically, you gotta time your your press correctly so you can jump off at the proper time so you can get the 100. Basically, the main sum of the minigame. Pretty cool one. Could be useful as a battle minigame too. Yeah. Next up, Fumi Once looks like a standard platforming minigame, but it's actually not. It's actually a memorization minigame. Basically, the game's going to show you the path, and you got to remember what order of the buttons you got to press. And it's actually a really cool memorization minigame. I like it quite a bit, and I'd like to see him bring it back. Maybe either make it a little harder or have different difficulty levels, like having 3 different levels that could randomly appear, like a really hard one, a really easy one, etc. Could be really cool. Next up is Spike Ball Scramble. I think this minigame is actually pretty good in concept, but I think they could tweak a couple of things. Firstly, I think they could just make it a little bit harder. It seems very, very easy for everyone to just kind of run through it and complete just because of how slowly the camera moves. It just seems really, really easy. And also probably change the music. The music is very, like, somber and lighthearted and not that, like, intimidating. I don't know, but this minigame is really fun. They just gotta tweak it a little bit to make it a little more fun. So yeah, Spiked Ball Scramble is a pretty good one for them to add as well. Next up, Bowser's Firebar Fury. Now, this one I think would be really cool as a Bowser minigame. Obviously, no one would control Bowser. That would just be Bowser or a CPU controlling Bowser. But it's a pretty fun minigame where obviously the players have to jump over the 2 bars of fire that are coming at them. It's kind of like that one Mario Party 6 minigame that's like a 1v3. It's like the electric one. I forget the name of it. But either way, I think this would be really, really cool to add as a Bowser minigame into the game. And yeah. So I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your list of minigames is. It doesn't have to be as long and thought out as mine, but it could be a couple minigames you want to see from different Mario Party games, or just your favorite minigames overall. Let me know all that down in the comments down below. So, I would like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All the stuff down below. Click on the notification bell so you're notified of when I upload videos. And check out the merch store. There's some cool ZakPak merch up on there for you to check out. So, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one.